Welcome to the first lesson in our ILF Essentials course. You may wonder what the inspiration and mission behind impact-linked finance is. In fact, impact-linked finance is based on a very simple question. What kind of finance do enterprises actually need to optimize impact? Not just to grow, but to grow in a way that focuses on maximizing their impact. This question is important because impact performance can vary significantly. Even in the impact space, impact is not guaranteed. What impact-linked finance does is put impact at the heart of each and every transaction. But before you come to your own view of what impact-linked finance can do, let's look at its definition, purpose, and the fundamental elements that set it apart from other types of impact finance.
Let's start with the first lesson of Impact-Linked Finance Essentials. Here are the key takeaways you will get from Lesson 1. First, you will understand what impact-linked finance is. Second, you will be able to identify the basic concepts behind ILF. And finally, you will recognize who can benefit from ILF. Are you ready to begin? What is impact-linked finance and why does it matter? And why should you consider impact-linked finance for your work? In the traditional financial system, companies are typically rewarded for financial returns. The positive social or environmental value they create, such as improving lives or protecting the environment, usually goes unnoticed and uncompensated. There are no incentives in place for entrepreneurs and their investors to optimize impact. Impact-linked finance, however, is different. ILF directly incentivizes entrepreneurs to stay on mission and/or create additional impact. ILF is also able to reduce the challenges and risks that entrepreneurs face when they focus on impact. So what does it mean, creating additional impact? For example, it means reaching underserved customers, or improving the depth of the impact of the enterprise's products or services. Impact-linked finance can also have a mobilizing effect as enterprises become empowered to attract investment that is more aligned with their impact missions. Now that we've explained why you should consider ILF, let's move on to the next question. Who is using impact-linked finance today? In recent years, ILF has gained a lot of momentum. Today, there are 3 types of ILF users that share specific characteristics. The first type are the catalytic funders. They can be development agencies or foundations. Impact investors, and specifically impact-first investors, are the second type of ILF users. Impact first means that these types of investors prioritize impact over financial returns. Last but not least, we see a third type of ILF users, development finance institutions, or short, DFIs. These are specialized development banks, often majority owned by governments. So how exactly do these types engage in an ILF transaction? Development agencies and foundations often act as outcome payers. Impact investors and DFIs, however, typically embed rewards for impact directly into their investment terms. Did you understand the first 3 stakeholders in an ILF transaction? Don't worry, this is just a quick glance into the variety of players. And you will hear much more about the typical stakeholders and use cases in lessons 2 and 3. Now it's high time to define what impact-linked finance is. Impact-linked finance refers to linking financial rewards for market-based organizations to the achievement of positive social outcomes. In other words, providing better terms for better impact. To understand impact-linked finance, it is important to unpack the definitions of the following 3 concepts. 1. Market-based organizations. 2. Linking financial rewards. And 3. Positive social outcomes. Let's define market-based organizations. These are enterprises that generate revenue through paying customers and operate based on market principles. They can be impact enterprises or any other type of businesses that have the potential to improve their impact performance. These organizations don't necessarily need to be profitable, yet. A counterexample would be a classic NGO that offers its services free of charge to its customers without generating revenues from this activity. Let's expand on how we define linking financial rewards. Impact-linked finance provides rewards for the measurable social outcomes that an enterprise achieves. In addition, the rewards are given directly to the enterprise creating these outcomes, the value creator. In most pay-for-success schemes such as impact bonds, however, these rewards rather go to the investors. In impact-linked finance, the rewards can take several forms, from cash incentive payments to preferential financing terms. One example is reduced interest rates or reduced repayment obligations. Now, let's move to the next definition: positive social outcomes. These outcomes refer to the improvement of the level of well-being by a group of people or the condition of the natural environment as a result of an event or action. Impact-linked finance aims to incentivize these direct and measurable social outcomes. The focus of ILF lies on the case-specific impact that is directly attributable to the enterprise. Inputs or activities are not at the core of impact-linked finance. Instead, the positive changes and effects spurred by the solution of the enterprise take center stage. Also, social outcomes should be understood to include environmental outcomes. We've taken a closer look at how impact-linked finance moves from design to practice. Now is your turn to use the assignments, readings, and reflections. See you next chapter.